Alright, that's a deal. If Tesla walks back on the decision, then Alpha has to do a show without pants. Maybe without underwear too. And then if Tesla doesn't walk back, then I have to do a shirtless show. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Magger from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha DeWolf.
And I just want to get started with some basic TIP updates, which is that I apologize that it took a few more days than usual to get our last episode out, but somebody here forgot to send his clip on Friday, so I had to wait until Monday. Luckily, this was the right week to do. Luckily, because we've been iced over down here. Luckily, I did have time to edit, as ordinarily if that happened, then I wouldn't be able to get the episode out until basically the next weekend, so...
Yeah, he probably would have had to send me his clip, and then I'd have to edit just to get it up in time.
That's how... Yeah, but luckily this time, because I've been having a week off, and I've literally not gone anywhere since Friday, and I'm really hoping that I'll be able to get out sometime soon, because my mom won't let me drive anywhere, so... Even though it's starting to melt today, so yeah, that's very annoying.
Do you know what black ice is? And no, it's not a racist thing. Do you know what black ice is?
Yeah, I know driving on ice is very dangerous, so yeah,
No, it's not just driving on ice. Do you know what black ice specifically is?
No.
It is ice that you cannot see. Typically, you can spot reflections on the road indicating, hey, sun's reflecting off of it, or a bunch of lights reflect. The road's slippery. Black ice is ice you cannot see until it's too late. You've already driven over it.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know. But either way, I've just had to deal with that. I'm getting kind of tired of that, but that's going on. But the first topic I wanted to actually get started with is that we're most likely not going to be recording next week, and that's because I have a crucial meeting to attend regarding my trip to Europe this summer. So that consequently means we won't be able to record. Unless Alpha and Tabby are somehow able to record next week, then we are not going to be doing an episode next week. And by the way, this is just...
Yeah, that really depends if Tabby is actually available for once.
He most likely will not be, so yeah, we got that. And by the way, just to let you guys know ahead of time, I'll obviously let you know when it will be on the specific, or like what weeks off to miss specifically, but when we get close to that date, but there will be either 1 or 2 weeks that I'll be unable to record. Due to my trip to Europe, so yeah, specifically going to Germany, Austria, Slovakia, and Hungary, so...
And you say I travel more than you. You're going further.
You do travel a lot more long distance than... You do more long distance trips than I do, though, generally. It's just that I tend to go further with mine.
Because mine are typically only less than 250 miles.
Yeah, and hang on. In order to move on to our next topic, I actually have to go back and grab my iPad, so I'll be back in 1 second. Actually, no, wait. I don't need it. I'll show the Idiot Awards on my phone, because yes, I do have some more Idiot Award nominations.
You're posting a bunch on them today.
Yep, so I'm actually going back to the first... Never mind, I'll go to the most recent one. Okay, so... This is my most recent one about how... This is my tutorial of how to install AppSync without Karen's repo, and it said in the tutorial, read pinned comment, and this one guy commented, doesn't found, and then, even though that's technically how it's supposed to work, and then I asked if he had read this video as pinned comment, in which I found a new method. Basically, in that pinned comment, I mentioned a new method that I found. So you don't even need that method. And then this is on my video on how to hide the notch on MacBooks. And this one guy commented, "The fry is vocal." The fry is vocal. And then I asked him, please define that. And then he's probably, the iTunes fanboy, you end most sentences with the last word extended plus a kind of fry at the end. I don't know what he's referring to with the kind of fry. So that's 17 seconds version. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not how I say it. 18 seconds displays. Yeah, I don't think I say that either. And then 1080 at 34 seconds. Yeah, that's not. And then you replied, someone else also wrote display. Not a typo. Why do people think the way I talk is so weird? Like, it's not that weird. Like, the only theory I have at this point is that people think maybe because I have a hint of Southern accent, maybe people just aren't used to that, so I think it's weird. But I don't personally detect it. But
I mean, I'll say it's a little unusual, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's
why
bad.
do you think it's unusual?
I can understand you way better than I understand most people with accents. Particularly, no offense, but I have a hard time with Chinese English.
Well, that's because Chinese and English they use completely different vocal cords. So like if we learn Chinese has many different dialects, but Mandarin is the most commonly spoken one. If we learn Mandarin, then we have to use a completely different set of vocal cords. So yeah, but I mean, why do you think my voice is unusual? Why do you think the way I talk is unusual?
Because it's got hints of Southern accent, but it's not a strong Southern accent. Like most people that I visited the South once. I went to North Carolina, and I did run into a bunch of people that did have heavy Southern accents, but I just find it interesting because you have hints of it, but it's not like full strong Southern.
Yeah, I mean that's my accent is kind of a weird mix of things because, in part, one thing that definitely affects it is that for my parents never really liked it if I pronounced anything the hillbilly way, so I basically was never allowed to do that. But even then, I'm trying to think of how to structure my sentence. But even then, I watch most of the YouTubers I watch are not from the South, so it's just kind of it's hit or miss kind of. But that might be the only thing I think that people might think is unusual.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some people think my accent is weird.
You're not the way you say the way you say MagSafe. Like am I even saying it the way you do correctly? Like that's one word that comes to the mind that you go. MagSafe, yeah.
MagSafe?
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, it sound. Yeah, I noticed that pronunciation, and that video when you had your older sister Dink on, or one of them. It was when you were playing hide and seek. I think it was one from 2023 or 2024. She sounds straight up like those comedians that mock people from Minnesota and Wisconsin. I'm dead serious.
Yeah. Let's just say the Yooper accent has some quirks of its own.
Yeah.
For example, let me actually show you. You might actually never have noticed this, but how do you think we pronounce the name of the city that I live in?
Houghton.
Yeah, notice the T is basically silent.
Houghton. Yeah. No, the T's not.
It's supposed to be pronounced Houghton, but we all pronounce it Houghton. The T is just non-existent.
The T is existent though, but that's. Although again, I think down south, if we had to say name Houghton down south, then I think I'm pretty sure most people down south would also pronounce it that way too.
Here comes a funny one though. The city just north of Houghton. You know which one it is, right?
Calumet.
Okay, that's too far north. I'm talking like
Oh,
across
Hancock.
the canal. You pronounce it Hancock. And actually, that's the way I pronounce it too. I'm an outlier in this regard. Most Yoopers pronounce it Hancock.
They sound like hillbillies.
That's how most pronounce it. They mostly pronounce it as Hancock.
That's how most old.
I'm still Hancock.
That's how most old. That sounds like most. They sound like old Southern people. Because generally you find the thickest Southern accents among the old people.
No, I mean every Yooper up here pronounces it that way. I'm the outlier. Because everyone in my family pronounces it as Hancock. I'm the only one who pronounces it as the way it's supposed to be pronounced, Hancock. But
That's a valid point, but we still have idiot awards remaining. So shall we move on? So moving on to our next one. This one guy comment.
I was actually going to give one
Oh,
more
please
example
do.
real quick, but let me grab it.
Oh no.
What is this?
It's a bag.
I pronounce it bag.
It's a brag. Also sounds like hillbillies.
I'm not even joking. I've always pronounced it as bag.
That might just be because of a speech impediment, though.
So, no, yeah. The Yooper accent is weird in and of itself.
I wonder if I ever will go up there. If people will think I'm from the. If people, I will be able to fool people into thinking I'm from the UP or not.
I'd say the chances are lower, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Because, I mean, I just gave you a few examples. There's still more that I can't think of right now, but those are the top examples that I can think of. Like, the T is mostly silent, unless it's at the start of a word. But, no, for the most part, those are the top examples I can think of. It's Hancock for most Yoopers except me, and then I've always pronounced it bag. Oh, remember the one comment who complained about how I pronounce button?
Button.
Button.
Yeah, button. Basically the same.
They were mad that I wasn't saying button, which sounds like something totally different.
Button? Yeah, yeah, that really does sound like something different. That sounds like what's on the back of an AirPods Max case. Actually, I forgot. Why would I tell you about the back of an AirPods Max case when I can show you the back of an AirPods Max case?
Oh, I have the blurring thing on. Yeah.
You know what that had to be inspired. That design had to be inspired by, right? Like, there's just no way.
Yeah.
It wasn't. If you tell me it wasn't inspired by that, then you're crazy.
Yep. But no, nonetheless, everyone's got their own accent, so I don't see the problem.
All right. Well, moving on to more.
Because, yeah. Moving
on to further Idiot Award nominations. This one right here is one on my how to install AppSync without Karen's repo video tutorial, and even though I mentioned the specific issue in that video, one guy commented, a server with the specified host name could not be found. This is much worse than the other. I replied, did you read this video's pinned comment? Because I explained that in that pinned comment and in the video itself too, so And then, okay, I think I'm at...
But that requires more work.
Exactly, but then I have one more idiot award that I'm going to have to make this show explicit for. I thought initially that at first this was actually a nice comment. And I was glad to see this comment when I woke up in the morning and saw this. And this is on my latest iOS 6 jailbreak tutorial via Aquila. And somebody commented, "It works. Thank you so much. I love the gays." That's irrelevant to that video.
Very much so. Okay, and all I got left are pictures of Tabby's new cat and my fluffy puppies.
Yeah, we ran through all the award nominations.
I miss these guys so much. I don't know if they've ever been featured on the show, but why not? I'm in iMessage right now. So this one's Marley. If I can scooch over. And that one's Jack.
Shall I move on to the AirTag?
Passed away a year ago.
Shall I move on to the AirTag 2?
Yeah, that is our next topic, right? Yes, it is. Okay.
Solid upgrade.
There's a new AirTag.
It's a solid upgrade. I mean, I like the extended range and such, and I probably will get one to keep track of my suitcase for my exotic travels. So I probably will feature it in a video for that. But that's aside. Actually, no way. I don't. Actually, I don't know if I'll need to get another AirTag for that, since I can just put my existing AirTag in my suitcase, because I'm not going to be using my card. Yeah, maybe I'll buy another AirTag. I don't know, but do you have anything more to say about the AirTag 2, or shall I move on to our next topic?
I just keep debating on whether or not I actually want to get it, because I know I am terrible at losing items, and let's just say my AirTag has been doing a great job helping me find said items. So, not entirely certain. Yeah. So, interesting. That's not the only thing that released today. I don't know if it's added in the list yet. Oh yeah, Apple. It's not added in this list actually. Apple launched Creator Studio today.
We basically already covered Creator Studio, the announcement of it. So there's literally nothing more to talk about that.
There is something I would like to point out though that I discovered. So I do think we should add this, because I did notice something in the process of updating some apps. So let's see. So I'm gonna open up this stupid application thing because they decided to completely ruin it. So I don't think I'm gonna get this visualized well on camera, but right here is Keynote. And right here is also Keynote.
Did you subscribe to Creator Studio?
No. And as a matter of fact, there's something that I'm a bit nervous about that I learned many years ago when attempting to write my book. A problem that I have with not updating specifically pages, numbers, and Keynote is when you don't update them, they don't work with iCloud properly, specifically if you're collaborating.
Oh, I remember you telling me about that with your 2011 MacBook Pro.
Yes, it was a massive problem for me because I was writing my book back then, and I did share it with a few other people just to fix some stupid typo mistakes or something like that, or a few other people had interest in the project, so I shared it with a few other people back then. But as I discovered very quickly, once I enabled collaboration and pages stopped receiving updates for macOS High Sierra, I could no longer open the book. I could no longer edit the book unless I went to iCloud.com. I don't want to have to do that every single time. And that is especially inconvenient if you happen to not have an internet connection due to some stupidity of just being up here. So, with that, I instantly found, okay, I need to do everything I can to make sure that I do legit have the latest version of Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. Because if I do have any collaborative documents, which I do, then if I'm going to be able to open them, I need the latest versions of said applications. And so that's why I've downloaded those apps. It's because when I updated the pre-existing ones, interestingly, for the Mac, they came out with separate applications for whatever reason. For iOS, and I'm assuming the same for iPadOS. I haven't checked the App Store on iPadOS yet, but for iOS at least, it's just the same. It's the same exact app, just it's a new update. But for whatever reason, for the Mac, it's an entirely separate application you have to, quote unquote, purchase. I'm putting it in quotations because it's technically free, how they have it listed. But when I updated the original Pages, Numbers, Keynote files, it kept telling me this is going to be the last version of this application. There is a new version of the application available on the App Store. Go download that. So I'm a bit nervous right now because, for one, I need that iCloud collaboration feature. Otherwise, I can't access or edit any of my stuff. That's highly problematic.
Are there any or what other documents besides your book and then the one that we did? And then the one that we did for our video about Apple's AI health coaching feature. What other documents do you have that are collaborations?
My sister and I are working on an animation project. So we have scripts, we have various numbers tables to sort through different character charts. So that's the latest thing, at least, that I do collaborations with. But no, I legitimately need the collaborations thing to work. But now I'm nervous. Okay, now that I've had to move on to the second application, I've set it up at this point. I've opened Pages on the iMac, the new version of Pages. I haven't been prompted to subscribe yet. There's no prompt just yet. So, my question is, how long is this going to last? Or is there going to be a separate prompt? I legit don't know. I'm just hoping that because of this Creator Studio BS that Apple's deciding to do, I really hope I don't lose my collaboration feature.
Please tell me that does not that it doesn't have those stupid awful dark icons.
It does have the dark icons. Yes, I know. I looked at it and it's like, okay, these be great for dark mode. How about light mode? These look terrible in light mode.
Well, that's another reason not to update to macOS Tahoe, and that's probably also why I just won't update the apps, because I hardly ever use the collaboration feature anyway, so I'm gonna try a little low right now.
So I don't know how long it's gonna be. All I know is whatever the latest Pages update that you have available, it's safe. It's for the previous application, there is an update available for that. Nothing's changed with that. It's now I have to experiment with a new one because I'm worried I'm going to lose my collaboration feature, and that will completely remove my access to any of my stuff, and that's a problem. So I just hope that Apple does not put specifically collaborations or this entire application specifically behind a paywall. So
yeah, if that happens, then I don't know what. Then I'm not entirely sure what application I'll have to go to.
Interestingly, also Final Cut has a major UI redesign, but the application icon is actually still the same.
Let me actually check. I have 6 updates in the App Store. Let me go ahead and open it. Yeah. No, everything's coming up with updates. Okay, I don't. Okay, I'm not sure if I want. Okay, I might just keep the UI the same so I don't have to relearn a new UI.
Yeah, they completely changed the layout of pages on me, so now I gotta relearn that. But hopefully the hard functionality hasn't changed too much.
What? I hate it when apps change their layouts, because it just gets so hard to relearn.
Yeah, it's like... do you mind if I do a screen share for the podcast? I don't know how that's going to affect editing, but do you want me to give you a demonstration of it?
Let me...
Because I can do screen capture.
Let me think really quickly. I mean, that would actually I would rather you not, because that would be a massive hindrance for me to edit.
All right. Just a thought. So, but at some point I should record a video and just send it in the iMessage group chat to show you what they changed, because it's definitely not the same.
Is it worse?
So, but no, let me get myself a side by side, because I got both applications. I will say it's less space efficient. Yeah, it's definitely less space efficient. The big thing that really irks me is just what they did with the top menu stuff above the page. It's not the side menus, it's just the top menu that they changed. And that is...
okay, for you, I was worried...
That's pretty annoying.
About them changing the side menu, so...
No, the side menu, from what I can see, yeah, it's identical. Side menu is identical, minus the slightly different round... They changed the radii on buttons, on things like that, but the side menu layout is exactly the same. They changed the top menu layout, and that's what's really irking me, because I frequently access the zoom function, because for whatever reason, I don't know why... Every time I open up a document, it does not size the document properly, and I have to size it to full width of the window. So, but because I access that so frequently, and now they moved it on me, it's just, why? It's not like it improved anything. No, it legitimately did not improve anything. So... yeah, maybe at some point, I don't know, is it worth a full video?
Maybe.
I mean, I am overdue for a video on the Gadgets channel. But, I don't know. I'll have to think about that later. But that's the latest in Creator Studio, and I felt like I needed to get that out there because this affects me big time. So, all right. What's next on the docket?
So Apple released iOS 12.5.8 for devices stuck on iOS 12. So in other words,
that's going back to devices like the iPhone 5S. Yes. And my iPod Touch 6. That was stuck on iOS 12 too.
So in other words, a iPhone that's going to be turning 13 this year, so the iPhone that's literally going to be a teenager, it is still getting software updates. No one uses the iPhone 5S anymore. That's the main phone, I should say.
Yeah, I think this is one. So that means even... I forgot I had one of these. I forgot I had a 5S now. So yeah, even this is getting updates. And yet the phone came out in 2013?
I mean, I think at this point, there is such a thing as too much software support, and I think Apple crossed that line a while ago.
I mean, on one hand, can you complain?
Yes.
I don't know how. It's Apple standing by the product.
I mean, they are, but at the same time, I mean, it's still not adding any new features, and it's still not the best. And at the same time, that's still saving that. That's still taking up more resources that they could put towards other things, like a possible, like, I don't know, fixing iOS, or I don't know, maybe signing older versions for iOS devices. That way, I could downgrade back. Untethered.
That's true.
Because, I mean, the iPhone 5S, you can tether downgrade them now to iOS all the way down to 7. You can tether downgrade them to iOS 7, but Wi-Fi does not, it will not connect to Wi-Fi networks with a password if you do that, and it's tethered, so be nice if Apple just signed these IPSW files so it could do it normally, but that's beside the point.
That is interesting, though.
Eh.
But this next topic seems less interesting for the wrong reasons.
So Apple today, they acquired Q.AI, an audio AI firm, for close to $2 billion. What a waste of money.
I mean, Bandcamp set a great example. Apple, maybe you should follow Bandcamp's footsteps.
Yeah.
It is so hard to be not mad at Apple right now because so far everything they've done in the past month is just a giant middle finger to creators.
Yeah, although they're not making me quite as mad as another company we'll discuss later, but
Oh. Yeah. Oh, geez. But, I mean, it should be obvious. If you're trying to market tools for creative professionals, I think it's safe to assume at this point they aren't interested in anything that has to do with AI.
no, they're not. And furthermore, I stated this before and I stated this again. The key part, the Get Mac ad summed it up perfectly. The key reason why you buy people buy Macs for creative purposes instead of just the boring work. And Apple's with acquiring Q.AI, and then their passion for their passion for the Creator Studio. That's just proving that they even hate creators even more. And I mean, they seem like they're doing the dumbest of queries, like acquiring that music streaming service and then creating Apple Music Classical.
Yeah, that was dumb.
By the way,
I still don't understand. That's already integrated into Apple Music. Why do you need to divide it out?
because of one of the classes I'm in, when I'm basically doing work independently. As a result, if you look at my music history on Apple Music, I've been listening to classical music in order to focus. So, yeah, you don't. And then for another dumb query they made is Pixelmator Pro. I am sorry, Apple has had photo editors before. They know how to do this. They had Aperture. They could just bring that back.
I'm trying to remember. Is it Pixelmator or was it Procreate?
It was Pixelmator Pro that they acquired because that's now an Apple Creator Studio.
Okay. Oh, I was trying to remember because they both start with P. So, and I don't use it. I've debated potentially switching to it, solely because, unfortunately, I now do not have free access to Adobe Photoshop. I now have to start paying for it.
How come you have to start paying for it?
Because the email that I had associated with it was for school-related function, and said email has since been deleted.
Hasn't that email been gone for quite a while now?
It's a different one.
Is that the one for college?
To my... No, I don't want to specifically say which one because that gives away which schools I've attended. So
Was it your high school one?
But yes, I'll just leave it at that. Yes, it was a high school email, and because obviously I've been graduated for a few years now at this point, well, now it's just clutter in their servers. So every few years, I guess they give you time to get all of your personal stuff off of that student email, so and transfer everything over to your new personal one or whatever you want to associate with, and then once that time's up, then they just delete the email because they need to make room on their servers for new students.
Wow, your school is kind of... Your school is seriously lucky because I believe in my school system how it works is they usually give you... In my school system, how it usually works is after you leave my school district, they keep it in basically deactivated dormant mode for one more year. So that way, I don't know if you can access it or not, but they still keep it up just in case students come back. That's how come even when I left my school system in 6th grade, that's how come when I got back into 8th grade, that's how come I was still able to keep my old school email. So they keep it dormant for I think one more year, and then they just delete. But after that, they just delete it. So, but they tell you that if you, but generally it's the general rule of thumb is that if you want to back up all your stuff if you want to save any stuff from your school email to your personal one, you gotta do that your senior year. In general.
So, but yeah, basically the point is, my Photoshop account that I used was associated with one of those emails. So that has since expired 6 months ago, I think. How long? No, it expired in September. Right, because that's when the new year started. So, yeah. Because that expired in September, I then lost all access to Photoshop, and I need to make thumbnails somehow, so I decided, alright, I'll temporarily pay just for access to Photoshop, see how this works out. But, I mean, if Pixelmator or Procreate is one-time purchase, I mean, I'd like to see the capabilities that they have first, because a thing that I know with Photoshop is it allows me to import images. Not every photo editor is nice with importing images. Depending on how they're picky about how they do it. So I'm not entirely sure how it works. It's something I need to explore, but I don't know. I need to find a way to get a subscription off because, again, like, if these videos were making me money, then maybe I wouldn't be too upset about paying Adobe a subscription because I'm making money. At that point, it's a business expense. But I have not made a single penny off of YouTube. Not a single one. All of my work that you've been watching, yeah, that's basically for free. So, because of that, I can't necessarily justify $20 a month just for a photo editor, so I can make thumbnails.
Even I can't justify that. Even I can't justify that either, and I make money off my YouTube videos. But what I do,
you use Keynote, right?
So it depends. So it depends on what type of video it is. So usually my YouTube videos, if it's about a device or something like that, usually I just take a picture of the device and then set that as a thumbnail. Sometimes I'll add text and photo via the default Photos app, but I've always been very basic with my thumbnails. And then if I need to show anything that I don't necessarily have, then I use Keynote. Then I basically create a slide in Keynote when I get photos of what I'm talking about, and then like my ad. And then on the title page, I screenshot that. I might, if I need to type text, I'll just screenshot from the title page and add that in. That's actually how I add all the thumbnails for this podcast.
You know, I kind of wonder if I should maybe just do that. Because for the most part, it's just slap an image on, slap a photo of my face on, put a text thing up, hit export, and I got a JPEG.
You should genuinely try that because it's free. It's free and it's free. It's very intuitive and it basically does everything. And I don't know how it may or may not work for your thumb. It'll be different to get used to for your thumbnails, but it might. I will say this though, usually my videos with thumbnails that generate from Keynote generally don't get quite as many views. So my Keynote thumbnails must not be the biggest way to draw attention.
I mean, no offense, but I don't think it's necessarily because of your tool. I think it's just a matter of...
Yeah, I know. My thumbnails are very bland.
Yeah. I think that's really more what it comes down to. I don't think it's the tool itself. No offense, but... Just saying.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, my thumbnails are pretty basic. Shall we move on to our next topic now?
Yes. Let's get off of that, and we're on... Where are we on the list? Amazon?
Yeah, so Amazon is discontinuing their Amazon
Yes.
Go and grocery stores. Yes, they had physical grocery store locations to focus on online grocery delivery and Whole Foods expansion because they own Whole Foods.
Really?
What are you surprised by?
I'm gonna have to call Talon and ask if he knows.
Does he shop at the...
Because he is obsessed. He does. He does shop at Whole Foods.
So, I went to a Whole Foods location one time, and that was my closest Whole Foods is like an hour away from me. So my dad and I went there on the day before Thanksgiving in 2019 to pick up the turkey for Thanksgiving dinner. And so I've been to Whole Foods a grand total of one time.
Oh, same here. For obvious reasons.
Yeah, it's annoying how, again, I mean, Whole Foods expansion is very good because, I mean, Whole Foods it's not a bad store, but it's just that they basically don't have any other locations outside big cities.
Yeah, I've only been to the one in DC. Somewhere not too far from somebody else's house. But that's the only one I've been to. And the reason why I went is because Talon is a total health nut. And he says supposedly the stuff you get at Whole Foods is much healthier than what you get at Walmart or Target or Meijer. I don't suppose Meier's that prevalent down there.
Yeah, Meier's.
Yeah, there was a Meijer in Kentucky that.
Yeah,
I
Meier's
stopped
not
at.
that prevalent down here.
Yeah, I stopped at a Meijer in Louisville, Kentucky on my way to North Carolina. But no, I know Meijer's more of a Midwestern chain. But
yeah, it would be nice if Meijer expand down here because they're more here because they're a good store. But
wow. No, we're lucky that we even have a Walmart.
There's no Walmart in my town either.
That-
I have to go like 15 to 20 minutes. I actually have to go like 20 to 25 minutes. I actually go around 20 minutes away to get to a Walmart.
Wow. But I mean, that's what we got. We've got the only big stores that we've got are Walmart. It was formerly known as Econo, but now it's Marketplace Foods because that chain was bought out by somebody else. And that is literally it in terms of grocery stores. We don't have a Target. We don't have a Meijer. We don't have Pick and Save. We don't have.
I've never even
Whole
heard of
Foods.
Pick and Save.
That might be a Wisconsin thing because I see Pick and Saves everywhere in Wisconsin.
I'm sure that is.
There's a Super One. Super One Foods is another chain.
I've never heard of Super One either.
Am I just listing off Midwestern chains then?
Basically, yeah. Down here, there's lots of Dollar Generals. I'll say that much.
I don't consider those to be grocery stores.
We have lots. Okay. That's a very prevalent. We obviously have Walmart down here because they're based in the southeast.
Yeah, they're in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Based in Arkansas.
And then we have most of the time you'll only find Targets in suburbs, big cities, and then micropolitan areas. But we do have Target down here. They're not quite as prevalent here, just because there's a little bit more poverty down here. But yeah, we do have. There are some Targets still. What else do you have in terms of big stores? In the very big cities, you probably will find a Whole Foods, and then Trader Joe's and all, and the Fresh Market and all those other competitors. You usually find those in the super big cities. What else do we have down here? In Kentucky, there is Meijer.
Yep, I stopped at the one in Louisville.
And then the big one down here that everybody raves about is, well, we have some Sam's Club locations too, although they're mostly in the same place that you find Target. But we down here, the big grocery store chain that everybody loves down here is Publix. Publix is based in Florida. They used to be only in Georgia and Florida, but they're expanding to a few other surrounding states now. And Publix does have kind of high prices, but they are very well known for their bakery. They have a very good bakery.
So that's good to know.
Yeah, Publix is very well known. We have BJ's Wholesale Club, and then Costco, which are kind of like Sam's Club. We have some of those locations around. Again, the same place you'll find Sam's Club.
When I went to Asheville, I learned that North Carolina, for whatever reason, is obsessed with Ingles. There are so many Ingles stores all throughout Asheville. I'm sure there were probably some in Charlotte, but I didn't drive that deep into the city to find out. But I just found it hilarious. Everywhere you go in Asheville, there's an Ingles here, there's an Ingles there. It's like...
Yeah, we have those basically. Yeah, and then what? Oh, the other chain I almost forgot. Kroger. We have lots of Krogers around too.
Oh, I've heard of them. They're based, not up here.
They're based in Cincinnati, I'm sure you'll find them in like Ohio. I'm sure you'll find them in like that region, but Kroger is very prevalent down south.
Yeah, I've never really stopped in Ohio though. Every time I've driven through Ohio, it's literally just been on the turnpike, and that's it. It's either I'm on I-75 or I'm on the turnpike.
Well, if you're in so most of the time you're not going to find Kroger's right by the interstates. Usually you're going to find them in the same place that you'll find Walmarts.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are.
But
those are our grocery stores down here. But
that makes me wonder what Ioni's going to do with their one rechargery, because what they have for the store is an Amazon Go thing, where you scan your phone at a terminal, it puts your credit card on something, and then it watches you pick whatever, and then you can just walk out and it knows what you've selected, and it just charges your card or something like that.
Yeah, that is a bit... I get why you're discontinuing because it's a complex system, but I mean, the Amazon grocery stores, I mean, that's still... In-person Amazon stores are actually pretty cool because I actually went to an in-person Amazon bookstore one time back in 2020.
I can't believe they even have
I went
those.
They sell Amazon gadgets there too, but I went inside one of those stores again, an hour away from me, but I did go to one of those once. It was actually in 2020, so I had to wear a mask for that, but yeah.
Makes me wonder, how did their facial recognition work with everybody wearing masks?
No, so the Amazon bookstore, it's literally just a little store you can grab books and gadgets, so it's not... That was just like you pay with your card like normally.
Oh, so that was a traditional layout, not like the smart system that keeps track of what you picked off the shelf or that type of thing.
Okay, now I get why they're just considering Amazon good, but that was actually the store where my dad and I got my aunt her Amazon smart plug, because that was back when smart plugs were just getting off the ground.
So, but I think we're a bit off topic. We've got a bunch of other stuff we have yet to talk about.
I think we're off topic too. So shall we move on to our next topic?
There's a DoorDash scam apparently for delivery drivers, not customers.
So this largely affects new drivers, but basically how it happens is, so you know how when you call, we don't really DoorDash, so we're probably not the best ones to explain this, but because
dude, DoorDash is
I
expensive.
hate that. My mom, because we've had so much ice, because we've had lots of ice in the snow. My mom's been insisting that we DoorDash, and I'm like, what? And I still don't fully agree with that, since
it costs as much as the meal.
Yeah, and if you do, I'm kind of annoyed at my mom for doing that, because it's not necessarily safer for a delivery driver to do it either. So I digress. But
I thought you guys stocked the fridge with milk sandwiches.
Yeah, that didn't entirely. We didn't. Everybody else did.
Well, what were you thinking?
Well, I'm lactose intolerant, so. And we don't buy store-bought.
You still could have gotten eggs and bread.
I don't really eat eggs, and I don't really eat store-bought bread either.
Just saying, you could have stocked the fridge.
We don't really eat much out of the fridge. I'm dead. Yeah, but anywho, getting back on point. So how the scam works is, you can call. So customers can call their delivery drivers about something related to their DoorDash order while it's happening, and so because of that call comes up as DoorDash. So how it works is the customer pretends to be DoorDash support to identify the driver's email due to a fraudulent purchase, and then the scammer uses the victim's email to log into a victim's DoorDash account and change the payout method. And usually people do identify this, but it takes a little bit. So therefore, of course, scammers, because they do have so many DoorDash accounts, they can manage to make quite a lot of money.
Especially considering how much DoorDash costs. Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, same. Under normal circumstances, I don't ever
I've only done it once, and that was because I had no transportation, and I may or may not have overslept, so didn't have time to make lunch. So I have used DoorDash only once, and I was not happy to see that it literally cost the same amount as my sandwich.
Yes.
It was just... What?
So, my family members often like times get to DoorDash delivery, so I I don't usually order food DoorDash myself, because it's just it's unnecessary. Usually I don't even get food delivery just because it costs more.
The cost of gas is cheaper than that.
Yeah. And it's like...
You will spend less money if you just take the time, get in your car. It can even be a truck with bad efficiency. You will spend less in gas to travel to that said restaurant than you will with DoorDash.
Yeah, and you're furthermore gonna... And the other thing too of DoorDash is that you get top priority when you actually drive. Whereas if the DoorDash delivery driver's got several orders, then then that's not necessarily going to be the same case. So your food will generally colder.
Let's see, it's about 275 divided by. I'm getting terrible efficiency right now, so just do 20 miles. So, I will tell you how much it costs me to go get a sandwich from Subway. Subway is roughly a mile from my place of employment. So I only have 1 mile to drive there and 1 mile to drive back. With how terribly inefficient my car has been due to the winter, I'm averaging roughly 20-ish miles per gallon right now, which is pretty bad for that type of car. But again, it's winter conditions. And I'm estimating the cost of gas being around $2.75 a gallon. So, to drive my car 2 miles, that's how much it costs. About 28 cents.
And so, how much did it cost you? How much extra did it cost? Did it cost you like $10 extra to use DoorDash?
15.
Did that include the tip?
No, I think after the tip, it ended up at around like $20.
Even CyberSlice, the original online food delivery service or stuff like that, even that had like I think it was just like a few cents extra upcharge.
Yeah, but my point being, this is only 1% effectively what I compared to the alternative.
People spend so much money on
1%.
People spend so much money on DoorDash too, and other services like that.
I mean, let's be honest here. Is your time really worth 100 times the cost to go do it yourself? Is your time really that worth it?
And of course, you gotta tip the drivers, so that's even extra because that's apparently somehow not included in already 15% upcharge. So.
Yeah, nonetheless, it really does not make financial sense to use DoorDash. You really, really have to value your time that much to justify it. Or, in my case, I was without a car. I could not go get my food.
I used to do food. I used to sometimes get like my Subway sandwiches delivered. I used to do delivery a lot more back before I had a driver's license. But that's because I basically didn't have any transportation. But now that I do, it's so much easier to just go get food myself.
Yeah, so I mean, it sucks that the drivers are getting scammed, but if you ask me, DoorDash in and of itself is a bit of a scam.
I mean, it is doing as advertised. It just costs so much.
I'm sorry, food delivery to me is not worth the same cost as my meal. So,
and the other thing,
it's not worth paying double.
And the other thing too is that you have to be a certain distance within the restaurants in order for them to do delivery anyway. So
that's true. Yep.
So if you live within delivery range of a restaurant, you're more than likely close enough anyway to just go get it yourself.
Yeah. The only reason I can think of where DoorDash makes sense is if you legitimately cannot go, be it you're disabled for whatever reason, or your car itself is disabled, so you can't necessarily drive to said location. So
the only other time I ever get DoorDash is if I'm sick and don't want to is if I'm badly sick, like if I have a fever or something and don't want to really expose our people.
Well, if that's the case, then I wouldn't even eat out, because that would not help.
Or I meant like then and so getting food delivered to my house, in that case, especially if I don't have contact with the driver, in that case, that's a lot. In that case, that's the only other time that makes sense.
Well, I'd say I cannot English. I'd say what would make more sense is to keep the fridge stocked.
That may.
But
That
that's
does
just
get.
me.
I usually try to keep the fridge stocked too. So that's not that common, but yeah, that.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. Our fridge is almost never empty.
Most of what me and my mom
It's always
Most of what
full.
me and my mom eat is literally just is either stuff that is frozen or else is stuff that's just stored in cupboards. So we don't really use the fridge that much. But there's also 2 people at my house and there's 5 at yours. So
That is true. Though I don't know, but I mean, I'm not judging. It's just I'll let you know I am not typically a fan of just frozen food, or food that you had to freeze to store it and then just dump it into a pan into the oven or something like. I like proper home cooked food, but that's because I'm spoiled. My mom is an amazing cook.
yeah, no, I don't usually like I often don't like frozen food either. So
I just wish I could make more than pasta. That is all I am good at cooking.
yeah, I don't like I can't understand how people can eat frozen pizza.
Yeah, it's really not that appealing. So
Shall we move on to our next topic though, because we've gone way off.
yes, what were we talking about? Oh yeah. We're on TikTok now.
So TikTok installs have been up by 150% due to Oracle's purchase of it for political reasons. Now, our goal is not to discuss the political reasons, but rather to celebrate that people are finally getting rid of TikTok.
So does this mean Gen Alpha's brains may or may not be spared?
Maybe. There is hope after all.
Because I know Gen Zs are already screwed up with this. So, no, happy to see TikTok losing viewership because it has done all it's done is pretty much destroyed our viewer base in the fact that they barely watch our videos. Not trying to make fun of you viewers, it's just a common trend that we notice. We look through our analytics and we can see how much of the video you watch. And sometimes we don't have to look at the analytics to figure out how much of the video you watched. All we have to do is read your comments and then we instantly figure it out. So. No, I can't complain too much because I can't stand TikTok. So.
Neither can I, but shall I move on to our next topic that relates to one of our topics from last week?
Oh yeah, OnePlus.
So Oppo, the parent company of OnePlus, is scaling OnePlus back, and they're possibly dismantling it due to just declining sales. I'm shocked. Not really.
Yeah, I was gonna say same here. It's just I'm not shocked, but I am disappointed given what OnePlus used to be. They were on such a high with the 6T and the 7, those phones especially. They were just on such a high, and it seemed like they were never coming down from it. And now they're not officially buried 6 feet under, but it feels like they've been buried 6 feet under for, honestly, I'd say the past 4 years.
Exactly, but shall we move on to our next topic? Speaking of phone companies being buried 6 feet under.
Oh crap, I scrolled down too far. There it is. Ooh. I mean, I guess I'm not too surprised by this either, but Asus is apparently halting all smartphone releases for 2026 due to weak sales.
Not surprised either. Because I don't know anybody with an Ace.
Come to think of it,
phone.
Come to think of it, I've never seen an Asus phone out in the
Neither have
wild.
I've seen Asus Chromebooks out in the wild, but never a phone.
I mean, I use an Asus motherboard. I have 2 Asus motherboards.
Is it Asus or Asus?
It's
Asus. Or...
I actually don't know. Some pronounce it Asus, some pronounce it Asus.
I think they're foreign firms is how come they're based in Taiwan, so I don't know actually how they pronounce. Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, it seemed like for a while they've had a solid product line. Particularly with it's the small phone. The Zen phone? It was their small phone where basically they were one of the last companies out there to hold on to the small phone. And that unfortunately is gone, so any small phone enthusiasts I guess aren't happy about that. And I had actually completely forgotten about this line until Marquez brought it up, and it just got pushed to me, so I just watched his downfall of OnePlus video or something like that. And in that, he brought up Asus's ROG line.
I almost forgot about that too.
I legitimately forgot those were a thing. They just completely exited my memory.
I mean, Asus hasn't really done that much with their... I mean, they just... No one knows about them, so... Yeah, I don't think their phones are necessarily that knowable, but they just don't... No one really knows about them, so yeah. They had solid phones, but just that no one knew, so... Yeah, it's good. Hopefully they'll be able to...
I wonder if it has something to do with... Because it's something that I noticed. The phones that typically sell the best are the ones that you can buy in store.
That is true.
I mean, iPhone is an obvious example because, I mean, Apple's a bit of an outlier in the fact that they have their own stores. But you can buy iPhones at carrier stores. You can buy them at other retailers like Best Buy, tech retailers. And you can even buy iPhones at Walmart. That's where I bought my 13 Pro Max, and that's where I bought my XS Max. Just a different location. But, yeah, you can buy iPhones at almost any big store. Any big box store. That's what I'll call it. Big box stores and phone carriers. The same goes for Samsung. You can buy Samsungs in physical stores. I mean... If I recall, I think Samsung has a couple stores here in the U.S., but not many for obvious reasons. But you can buy Samsungs at carriers. You can buy them at Best Buy. You can buy them at Walmart. And same goes for Google Pixel as of late. And Motorola, too. Motorola is more in particular with carriers. But... You can find some Motorola devices at Walmart, but I mean, that's just what I found. The phones that tend to sell the best here are phones that can be bought at a physical store. But for phones like Asus's line, I don't think you could have ever bought an Asus phone at a store.
That's true, because most people...
I don't think they sold them in store at Best Buy or Walmart or any carriers.
And most people and most people typically most people have to get lots of advice from phone salesmen at carriers when they go buy phones, or else.
That's also true. Because we might be tech enthusiasts, so we understand all the pros and the cons. But we're a bubble in our own. But we're a bubble in the sector. We don't make up the majority of the tech customer base. So I think that's kind of what hurt Asus in particular. It's just they've never really sold their phones in physical stores, and so people don't have a place to ask questions other than online forums. And yeah, especially these days in particular, finding out information on online forums is a complete total nightmare. I hate online forums. I can never find what I'm looking for on them anymore. But and the same thing kind of plagued OnePlus a bit. Their phones were so spectacular, but the reason why you almost hardly ever saw them is because OnePlus never really sold them at physical retailers. There are a few exceptions, like the Nord series, and then they've had a carrier deal with T-Mobile.
Yeah, it is, because I saw my dad and I back in December 2021 when we went to our little T-Mobile store. We saw OnePlus phone there, so
yeah, they did have them in stores, but they weren't really all big on that. Most of the orders were placed online. They didn't really have their products out in physical stores. I recall actually going to, right before the Best Buy in Marquette closed, I recall going to the Best Buy there, and I saw iPhones, Samsung, Google, Sony, to my surprise. Samsung was selling, Best Buy was selling Sony phones there. Bunch of Motorola stuff. And they had some Chinese iPhone knockoff there, too, from, what was the company?
What?
Yeah, they had that there.
I didn't even know you could technically sell those here.
Yeah, I found some Chinese blue iPhone 10 knockoff at Best Buy. But I did not find a single OnePlus. So yeah, that's what's unfortunate for Asus and OnePlus. It's just they never put their phones out in physical stores for people to see.
Yeah, of course, most of the people working there are tech enthusiasts.
Yeah. And that basically means people have to figure out about them online. But if they're not in the tech community, then they're never going to see this. They're never going to see the Asus phone or the OnePlus phone.
In fact, that's probably why
you have to put it in a
In fact,
physical
that's probably
store.
why the Nothing phone really isn't selling.
You know, I wouldn't be shocked if that were the case.
Because if Nothing actually bothered
Because as far as I know,
to put their phones in physical stores, and they might sell.
As far as I know, Nothing was only tech enthusiast centric, but to my knowledge, any Joe Schmo really doesn't know who Nothing is. I actually think if we were to walk up to some random Joe Schmo and ask, hey, you want to take a survey? First question, have you ever heard of Nothing? Well, there's your first problem.
What a dumb name for a tech firm.
Oh, the stupid jokes.
It's genuine though, because like if you ask somebody random, have you ever heard of Nothing? They're gonna think you're clueless. They're gonna think you need to get your brain checked.
Yes. Oh. Okay. So, but I think we butchered that topic.
Actually, speaking of phone brands that people really aren't that aware of, but Sean, actually, this is a great segue into our next topic.
Yeah, I've never heard of this one before.
So,
what's this?
Do you remember the next doc that Mr. Who's the Boss covered in one of his gadgets, a couple of his gadget videos, actually?
Unfortunately, no, I
So
don't.
the next dock, how it works is the next dock line of laptops is a laptop that you can plug in an Android phone to via its desktop mode or Samsung DeX, and you can plug it in via USB-C cable, and it's basically just a laptop that's empty except for a battery, and it has a full keyboard, trackpad, and display, but and I think speakers. But how it works is you just plug your phone in, and just like that, you can use your phone like a desktop.
Oh. Okay, I'm not entirely sure how useful that is, given that you're running Android apps to try to do productivity.
Yeah, but that's what the next stock company has made. They've been making laptops for a few years now, so, and they apparently are selling okay if they keep making them. But the same company also made the NexPhone, which is a $550 phone that you can. So on the same partition, you can have Android for basic stuff, which you can plug in via desktop mode to use like a full Android phone. Which again, Android is about to come to desktops, but on the same partition, there's also you can run a full desktop build of Linux and have it on the same partition, so you can plug in. So you can have like Android running on the phone, but then you can plug it into a USB-C monitor and get instant full. Plug it into a monitor and get instant full desktop Linux, or if you dual boot it, or it can also be dual booted, triple booted to where on the other partition, you can have Windows 11, where they modified the UI to actually work better with a phone. So that way it has more like it's kind of like tiles of Windows Phone OS, but then it's full Windows 11.
Yeah, I'm sensing a value problem.
What's the value problem?
The problem is it has Windows 11.
That's really the only problem because I mean if your desktop apps work with Linux, it's a cool idea, honestly. I'm glad to see that it exists because as one guy that I watched a video on, as he stated, this is intent. Phones already have capable enough chipsets in them to do most of the average Joe computer work. So it's a cool concept, especially with rising computer prices. It's a cool concept to just be able to plug your phone into a dock and be able to use it like a desktop. This definitely needs some more refinement, and Windows definitely needs more refinement, which we'll be talking about that in our next topic, but it's not...
Yeah.
It's a cool idea.
I do sense another problem with it, too, that I don't think too many people are thinking about. How are they going to handle cooling? Because I know once the device has to drive more than what's typically on board, it's got to, like, a second monitor, for example. The GPU now has to work even harder because not only does it have to render frames for its built-in display, but now it has to render frames for a second
I'll
display.
explain how they do it. So, first of all, this is a very big... So, first of all, it's running an ARM CPU and GPU. It's running on ARM. But the second thing to most notably know is that this is not intended for high-powered tasks. This is intended for low-powered tasks that people would do like document editing, web browsing, all that stuff.
I will have you note, this is an ARM CPU device.
Yes, I know that.
And I can have this thing overheat just by browsing maps.
Well, you also
specifically
you made the mistake of updating your phone to iOS 18, so the cooling thing, that is definitely something that they need to work on.
Oh, that was a problem before 18. I was having problems on... the cooling problem was a problem before iOS 18.
All right, yeah. I mean, the cooling is a genuine problem, yeah, that...
So, then the other thing, too, is it's like, okay, yeah, these smartphone CPUs, they're pretty good at doing light basic tasks. It's just... most of what I do these days is not really that.
So, this is...
And, okay, yeah, I'm an outlier because I use SolidWorks and I use Final Cut, which are not necessarily light programs, but Oh, actually, here's another example. The iMac that I'm recording my end of the show on has an ARM CPU. And why is it overheating despite that it is actively cooled?
Exactly.
I don't know. Now, I don't know if that's just manufacturing issue or what. I mean, it hasn't outright crashed, but it does have thermal problems. I will say that much.
So the next phone, how it's marketed is it's not a mark. If you watch a video about it, then you'll understand a lot more about it. But because I'm not fully explaining justice, but this is not intended for users who do any type of video editing, photo editing, audio editing, SolidWorks. This is not intended for users that do anything within that realm. It's not even really intended for gaming anything harder than Tetris. Well, what it's intended for is just people who just do things like document editing, web browsing. It's basically just intended for those very basic tasks. That's all.
Then the only legitimate complaint I have left then is if I were to do document editing, yes, the phone is perfectly capable of that, but it's not a matter of processing power at that point. It's just a matter of, okay, if I'm going to do long typing sessions, long document editing sessions, I want a physical
you can
keyboard.
Plug in a keyboard to it.
But now that's a separate thing that you have to take with you anyways.
So the NexPhone is intended to either just be something that you plug into the next stock laptop, or the biggest reason they're advertising it is you just plug it into a little dock that has a monitor, keyboard, and mouse all ready to go. It's like using your laptop as a desktop.
Yeah, I get that. It's just, I don't know. It does not reduce the amount of things you have to carry. And I feel like at that point, because the form factor of a laptop can fit so much more processing power for other things, I don't know. I'm struggling to see the value. I get the concept. The concept makes sense. It's just there's a few other questions that make me ask, is this thing truly that much more practical? Is it really more practical to have my phone power literally everything when I need to get all these different shells and chassis to be able to do the type of stuff? At that point, I just start asking, is it really worth the hassle to get your phone to do everything when obviously Android's not optimized for it? The applications that run, like, even though, yes, you just mentioned Android's going to be optimized for the desktop, what about the applications that run on that? Because if they don't optimize themselves, then it'll just be the Pixel Book all over again.
The best way I can describe it is it's literally just the people that I best recommend this phone to are if you're fine with using Windows or else Linux, and if you have an office setup where it's basically just something that you can just plug it in and dock it and just do some basic document editing and all that stuff. That's basically what who it's trying to target, but that's really all I can say.
Yeah, my question is just the practicality of it all. Is it really any more practical than just having a dedicated phone and a dedicated laptop?
Well, it honestly depends on what you do. It depends on what you're... I mean, a lot of people dock their laptops in that case, so it is... So, I mean, it honestly depends on who we are, because I feel like because we're power users anyway, I feel that we're Apple users, I feel that we're the wrong people to ask to... We really are the wrong people to be...
That's fair.
Talking about this.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll admit I might be in the wrong demographic, and so I have a hard time seeing it. It's just, but I don't know. The point is, I've given my thoughts on the whole thing, and my thoughts are, I question the practicality. So, either way,
so the latest Windows 11 update is breaking basic features like Notepad and snipping tool because Microsoft Store cannot verify our licenses, and it's shutting It broke shutting down too. Yes. And the patch that Microsoft
So you literally have to unplug the computer to get it to turn off? You literally have to remove power?
Oh, and then their patch that they released for it broke Outlook.
Clean up on aisle 4. We got a lot of broken glass everywhere.
Yeah.
What is wrong with this company?
They were founded off of...
They
They basically been founded on a lie. What do you think?
And yet somehow they're still the predominant operating system for desktop use in the nation.
There is some good...
It's just... This is the trash. Guys, we have better options out there. We don't have to just keep using trash. We have better options. My personal choice was macOS. But if that's not even the right option for you, I mean, at some point, I got a second SSD for the server right behind me. I'm thinking of installing Linux on it just to play around with it a little bit and just see how user-friendly it can be. Because that's been my biggest criticism for Linux for the longest time. It's just, it really was not user-friendly. The second you have to open terminal for anything, instant user-friendliness gone. It's just gone.
Although, to be fair, Windows this was getting so unfriendly that Linux has started to become user-friendly without much work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how bad Windows has gotten. So, I'm curious to play around with Linux at some point. The question is, I don't even know where to begin because, for one, they got all these different distros with all these different UI designs. It's like, what do you choose?
I would say probably just do Ubuntu since that's the most prominent one.
I don't know.
Well,
but,
Android's technically the most prominent one, but after Android, Ubuntu is the most prominent one.
Well, again, this is for desktop use.
Yeah, Ubuntu is the most popular. But shall we move on to our next topic? That's actually some good news.
Speaking of Linux, actually, I believe this is the most common Office suite that's used on Linux.
So, LibreOffice, which his funding has drastically increased, and let me actually see if you can use LibreOffice on Mac OS. Since if we can use LibreOffice on...
That'd be interesting.
Wait.
App Store. I'll see if it's on the App Store.
Yes, you can download on Mac. It's on the website. I think you have to download it from their website because it's open source. But yeah, you can download it for Mac OS. So if worse comes to worse with Creator Studio, I think I know what we're doing.
Oh, but then I gotta switch platforms and formats, and it's just I've fallen in love with Pages so much.
But I'm just saying, if worse does come to worse, then we at least have LibreOffice, which will probably be what most Mac users flee to if Apple Creator Studio winds up ruining Pages. Numbers and...
Yeah, we're not going to Google Docs because I don't care what Google says. You cannot edit an online document offline. I don't care what they say. I've tried it for too long and it does not work.
Shall I go ahead and move on to rambling about our next topic? Because I have a feeling our next 4 topics are going to be quite a lot of rambling, and we only have an hour left.
Oh. Yeah, there's a lot of bad news we have to talk about if you follow Tesla like we do.
So first of all, Tesla discontinued autopilot in the US and Canada, and so All cars now come with traffic-aware cruise control instead, which is that's worse than. I'll just say this quickly before Alpha goes on a massive side tangent. This is very this is weaker than competition now, and autopilot was also such a basic feature, and now they're basically making their cars worse than the competition. Alpha, you can now continue. Alpha, you can now begin your very, very long ramble.
He knows me too well, guys. He knows me way too well. All right. I mean, I've grown tired of trying to rant about this for so long, but I will do my best to put all of my thoughts and opinions out there. I've never really cared about the autonomy stuff. And so, despite that, now if I were to buy a Tesla brand new, I'm not going to have autopilot. It personally doesn't miff me enough to not buy the car. I don't personally value autopilot like
Same.
other people do. Even though, yes, the competition does offer autopilot-like features for either standard or, well, I can't really say as an option because Tesla still is offering FSD even on their base cars, and that brings lane centering back. But it brings a whole set of other drawbacks, which I should have brought this up in my autopilot video. Something that really annoys me about FSD is you can't set the speed.
What?
FSD is right now is so focused on just, oh no, I'm a taxi driver. You don't need to worry about me. Just let me do what I'm going to do. And in the process of Tesla trying to get there, they've removed your ability to set a maximum speed limit. And so now FSD will do whatever it wants. I'm not even joking. It doesn't even follow the speed limit. It will do whatever it feels like doing. And I've seen plenty of occasions on camera where it's doing not 10, but 15 miles an hour over the speed limit. I really should have brought that up in my autopilot removal video. I really should have. Because that is a really massive annoyance that, to me, outright completely closes me to the idea of using FSD. It just removes my control of how fast the car is going. So, I don't like that. I legitimately don't like that. I want to have the ability to limit the speed to what I feel is necessary. Because if it's doing 15 over and on camera, by the way, this can be found in multiple YouTube videos. If it's doing 15 miles an hour over, you are 100% getting pulled over.
Unless you're on an interstate and the rest of the traffic
There's no doubt
is going
about
that fast.
But even then, most traffic does 5 to 10 over, not 15.
That's true.
So, I don't like that. I really don't like that at all. And as far as what I can tell, it really doesn't matter which drive mode setting you have FSD in. You can have it range from chill to Mad Max or something like that. It really doesn't matter. The speed it picks is just arbitrary. And I don't like it. So, but no, nonetheless, I'm not a fan of autopilot's removal because if you wanted to have adaptive cruise with lane centering while still maintaining the ability to lock the speed on the car, that's gone now. You cannot do that.
And that's something that's really annoying because it can, especially in SUVs, it can be kind of hard to keep the car centered. Keeping cars centered in lanes can be. I'm not saying it's difficult, but it is sometimes a bit of a challenge, and
it's fatiguing.
Because my dad always thinks
I think that's the word you're looking for.
I'm not within the lane lines, even though I'm usually am within the lane lines. So I don't know why he doesn't see that. But yeah, by the way, it can be kind of hard to keep cars perfectly centered within lanes. So
yeah, I mean, I found it useful for heavy traffic situations. Not because if the car can maintain itself in the flow of traffic, okay, that frees up my mental capacity to monitor the idiots around me that can't drive. So that way, if an idiot pulls an idiot driver move, I can find a way to safely dodge the idiot driver. So that's the reason why I like cruise control and, to an extent, lane centering. So far, Tesla's system was really the only system I've used that actually has good lane centering. I've used Super Cruise before, and I did not like it. It was just too ping-pongy. It felt like I was drunk driving. But Tesla's lane centering system on autopilot, just autopilot, it was confident, very confidence-inspiring.
Yeah, dude, I've never personally used cruise control in my car, but that's just because I don't entirely know how to set it up, so I just don't. So as a result, I just don't find it worth the time. But yeah, my dad has used it though.
Yeah, it's real handy, particularly on the highway. It's not really useful in the city unless it's you're in stop-and-go traffic on the highway. But then again, you need like adaptive cruise in order for that to be useful, which Stardust does not have.
I highly doubt my
every
car
time I'm driving in traffic,
I'm pretty sure my car doesn't have adaptive cruise either.
I don't know. Mercedes was one of the first. I'll
actually have to.
They were early.
I actually have to ask my dad if my car has adaptive cruise because he would know. He would know.
You'd be able to find out if there's a function to set the following distance.
Yeah. But by the way, I found out something about my car recently, which is that I figured out where its cigarette lighter is.
So there is power available in the cabin.
Yeah, it was tucked back in a weird area. That basically always had closed. So yeah.
I knew it had to have power in the cabin somewhere.
Yeah, it took. Yeah, okay, I figured that out a couple months ago, but yeah, that's beside the point.
So, but the biggest thing about autopilot's removal that miffs me is it's just now the car looks less competitive to its competition. And again, what does Tesla advertise themselves as now these days? Are they a car company? No. They're an autonomy company.
Especially as we know for next two topics.
And yet, the autonomy company has worse autonomy right now than a Nissan Leaf or a Toyota Corolla.
Yeah, that's bad. But shall we move on to our next topic?
Just so you know, it's more Tesla news and it's more bad Tesla news.
Yeah, I can see topics, Alpha.
Speaking of FSD...
So Musk has... Elon Musk has confirmed in a tweet that FSD subscription costs will rise as FSD improves. No thanks!
Honestly, I don't think they're going to be able to get away with it. Because a theory that Drew brought up on Telos of EV, a theory he brought up, the reason why they are both getting rid of the one-time purchase option for FSD, because guys, that's going away in February, by the way. The reason they are getting rid of that is because they're trying to, as a part of Elon's pay package, the only way a goal that needs to happen in order for Elon to receive his pay package is they need 10 million FSD subscribers. The current number right now is around 300,000. And as of right now, the current take rate for FSD is only 10%. So that means not a lot of people are interested in purchasing FSD. And I know some people are thinking, well, if autopilot goes away, this might be another reason why they're getting rid of autopilot. It's they want to push people to subscribe to FSD. I think that's the theory. Yeah. The thing is, my theory is I don't think people are going to spring for that option anyways, because $99 a month, that's not an insignificant amount of money.
No, it's not.
In my autonomy video, I talked about $99 a month. That's the price of a utility.
FSD isn't a crucial utility, and furthermore, we're working towards a future when we have fewer utilities. Like, we're working towards having off the grid power. So
Yeah, it's just that's not an insignificant amount of money, and especially those buying the cheaper Teslas, I would not be shocked if they didn't really want to pay any extra to have FSD. They just wanted the car because, I mean, many people have said it, and I will still say it to this day. I think the Tesla Model 3 is the best car in the world.
I mean, yeah, it's good value, but also, Tesla. Shall I go ahead and move on to our next topic now, which I'll go ahead and start off with?
Yeah, I know this is going to make you sad because basically your dream car was viciously murdered by Elon Musk.
Tesla. Oh yeah, so Tesla has decided to discontinue the Model S, the car that made them, mind you, in the X in Q2 of 2026. Here's some many problems with that. Number one, they sold well. Number two, people actually like the cars. Number three, and this is the Tesla Model S is what made Tesla who they are. It kickstarted the EV industry, and it still made Tesla what they are. So that's like the equivalent of Apple discontinuing the Macintosh line.
I'd say that too, though. I mean, I will say this much though about the sales figures. They are currently so low right now. Like, I think the way they had it described, I believe Models S, X, and Cybertruck only made 3% of their revenue.
Well, but that makes sense because they're luxury cars. They're luxury cars, so of course they're not going to sell that well. Of course they're not going to sell quite as well, but still, that's... But the other problem that Tesla is another problem is that Tesla so every car company knows that they have to offer some luxury expensive cars that their customers can aspire to eventually get to be able to own someday. Like how Ford has the Lincoln, GM has the Corvette, and then the Cadillacs. Tesla used to have the Model S. BMW's BMW. Mercedes.
BMW owns Rolls-Royce.
Most people aren't. Yeah, that too. Volkswagen Group has Audi and Porsche, although I do not recommend buying a Porsche. And then they have
they also have Lamborghini too, if I have not.
That
mistaken.
too, but they have. But either way, every car company they have at least a luxury part that they can own, that is designed so that way people can aspire to. And if you're removing a luxury car for them to aspire to, then what's the point of even starting with the car company? And then this is the big thing that really concerns me, which is why I might not even buy a Tesla for my next car now, is because if Tesla's doing this to their car line, then it makes me worried about the future of the Model 3. And why? Because the reason why they're doing this is to make more Optimus robots. They're a car company.
So, I know, it's absolutely infuriating. My reason for disappointment is, to me, the Model S and the Model X were supposed to showcase Tesla's full potential. That was where they those were the vehicles they were supposed to put their best engineering and design into. Hence why they were expensive. But the thing was, the last true refresh they really got was about half a decade ago. And at least here in the US, you typically want to update your product at least every half a decade. That's just that's the typical product cycle. Some will push it sooner, some will push it later, some will push it way later, like Toyota and Nissan's pickup trucks, to be more specific. But the general standard for a product redesign or refresh is typically every 5 years. And the Model S and Model X have gotten to that point. And because the electric car, the tech in terms of the electrification in automotive, that bar has risen so much higher. We've made so many massive improvements. We've got 800 volt architectures. We've got crazy fast DC charging with super thick curves. We've got massive energy density enhancements and power delivery enhancements. And because those improvements have been found within the last 3 to 4 years after the Model S came out, the Model S and the Model X, they now start to look and feel dated in terms of the technology aspect, in terms of the engineering behind the cars.
They made the wrong mistake of just not choosing to update it, because no one cares about the robots. People care about their cars. And if they actually put effort into the Model S and X, then people would still buy them.
Yeah, that's the reason why ultimately the sales slipped. It wasn't necessarily because they were bad products. It's just they were getting old. And the competition, as much as the Tesla bulls might want to deny this reality, the competition it's safe to say, they've caught up. And especially in the high-end market, I honestly argue they've greatly surpassed Tesla.
Yeah, but nowadays, I hate to break this, but now, because I don't know how Tesla's going to do this to their fans, I mean, I obviously am not even sure if I want a Tesla. I'm seriously considering now getting a different brand for my next car. Might not even be an electric one, because there's not really any other good affordable EVs I can get right now that have the NAX port.
Well, if you consider the used market.
Oh, that have the NAX port. That's true. That's why I basically have to either go Tesla or else go gas.
So I will state, this does hurt my, out of all of the stupid things that Elon has done, this is finally the number one stupid thing that is kind of hurting my confidence in wanting to buy a Model 3.
Same, because you don't...
Specifically new. Specifically new.
Because how do you know they want to keep these up, keep supporting them? But what am I trying? I'm trying to think of what to say here. I lost my train of thought.
So, I know that there's something that... Funny enough, the previous video I made to the Autonomy one was actually the video about software updates. Tesla changed the game with the car in the fact that it is software updatable. So, I mean, we've kind of seen a few previews thanks to Fisker in what happens if a company stops production of a vehicle or goes bankrupt, and it is not a good situation. And the reason why I'm getting on this level is because I genuinely think that this autonomy thing that Elon is pushing so hard is not going to pan out for them. I legitimately think at this point he is just going to kill the company. I don't see success in... I don't see fruitful success in Elon's FSD and autonomy endeavors. I don't see it.
Yeah, exactly. Now I've debated.
The good news is, though, I mean, what are the things that you're most concerned about with owning a Tesla at this point?
I mean, I know the cost is going down.
But I mean, what are you concerned about?
I mean, I don't necessarily. I mean, I just don't. I mean, I'm just. I mean, I'm not necessarily. I just don't. I just don't trust. I just don't know if I can trust Tesla anymore because of what they're doing now to their customers, and I have a weird feeling they're gonna have to walk back on this, like they did firing the supercharger.
I hope that's the case too.
Like they did firing the supercharging staff.
Oh yeah, that was another awful move on Elon's part. I can't help but remember the comments that I got on that video when I covered the Supercharger Network team being fired. Just they were all like, "Oh, Elon's playing 40 underwater chess. You have no, you can't grasp the level of intelligence that this guy has." And what level of intelligence does he have? He literally just pressed undo on that decision.
Yeah,
pretty much. So, for me, my number one concern is if they stop selling cars, what's going to happen with parts? But then I remembered, because Teslas are so freaking common, parts availability isn't really that big of a problem. Even if Tesla stops supplying them, the third-party market, you can get the third-party market for parts for Tesla is so expansive.
Yeah, true. I'm not worried. Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not necessarily worried about that, but it's just
For me, that's my biggest fear, because unlike some people, I'm sure their biggest concerns are software updates and the whole FSD situation. But again, I don't care about FSD. So whatever happens FSD or autopilot wise with that car, I don't care. I legitimately don't. And as much as I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of this one particular YouTuber, MKBHD, I cannot disagree with this quote. Never buy a product based on the promise of tomorrow. As of right now, I am currently happy with what the Model 3 is. I don't really need Tesla to do any more to that car than they've already done.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, same. I don't need Tesla to do anything more. It's just that this is just such an infuriating. This is just such an infuriating move because it makes you wonder if you'll be able to keep going Tesla or not. And furthermore, whether the electric dream in the United States whether the electric dream in North America is going to be able to happen or not.
That's the other thing, too, that I don't think Tesla realized. But then again, they don't live by their mission statement anymore, so I'm not totally shocked that they didn't care about this. But Tesla's mission statement for the longest time has been to transition the world to sustainability. And the death of the Model S and the X in North America, those two, the Model S specifically, was what proved to America electric vehicles can work.
Yeah, and it proved to. Yeah, and we don't. And we again, other NACS vehicles are literally just getting off the ground. We don't really have other options for EV. I mean, we don't necessarily have that many. We don't have really other adequate options for EVs. So if Tesla goes down, then the electrification dream. This is the big thing: is the electrification dream. Forget about it.
That's when I'm worried. It's going to tip off the bears. Specifically, the bears in electrification. It's just going to fuel their fire in trying to spread misinformation about electric vehicles. And just... That's another thing that hurts, too. It's just... A lot of it... Everyone in the community right now seems to be very much emotional over the whole thing. Even out of spec. Out of Spec was trying to be analytical as possible, as that's what Out of Spec does. But even Jordan and Andreas, a lot of it was just emotion.
Yeah, because this is an emotional time. But here's the other big thing that I'm a little bit concerned about with Tesla.
Yeah.
So, I'm worried that all this crazy stuff is going to get Elon Musk booed off of is going to get him booed off of as role CEO of Tesla. Now, I'm not necessarily now. Granted, I don't think Elon's like the best CEO ever. He's obviously done a lot to help Tesla. I'm not going to discourage that, but the problem is, I'm awfully worried that if Elon gets steps down, then I have a very strong feeling that the board will not select a very good CEO for the next one.
That's a fair concern to have. I mean, I've been pushing for Elon to step down. I think his time at Tesla is done. But the fear of might he be replaced with a worse CEO, that's a legitimate concern.
Because the board members are going to
but
elect
it's just right now, Elon's been doing so much harm to this company with the autonomy focus, completely distracting them from making great electric vehicles. And as of the last year and a half, his political association, even though I personally don't care because it doesn't matter what the deal with politics is. You lose either way. So, but I may not care, but clearly other people have. He's just done so much, especially in the past couple of years, to harm this company. I'm honestly, even though 2 years ago was when the Model 3 Highland was released, and last year was when Model Y Juniper was released, I think those updates came out in spite of Elon. I genuinely believe at this point, those product refreshes came out in spite of Elon, not because of him. Not because he was pushing to, let's make a better Model 3 or let's make a better Model Y. Because clearly for the past 2 years, that is not where his focus has been. His focus is primarily, let's get a robo-taxi business going so that way we don't have to sell cars to consumers. That's where his focus is. And updating the Model 3 and the Model Y doesn't help him with that focus. So I genuinely believe that those two refreshes came out in spite of Elon, not because of him.
Yeah, but that's kind of... And then the other thing, too, is if Elon gets booted off of Tesla, what's he going to do about it? Since he's going to have a strong reaction to that. He's going to do... they have to keep that in mind, too, if Elon gets booted off Tesla, then he's going to try to... he might try to just start a competitor or something.
I doubt it. I mean, he might build a competitor that's more focused on autonomy, but if that's the case, have at it.
Although, honestly, I just realized something. They could split Tesla into two separate companies. They could separate into one for autonomy stuff and then one for automotive stuff.
I don't disagree with the take.
And
I don't know particularly how I feel with it, but I don't think it'd be the worst decision in the world. No, because,
I mean, Elon Musk could head the autonomy division, and then... I'm just saying... If Tesla has to get a new CEO, I think it should be the original founder.
There were so many potential people that really could have replaced them. Though, I think that's the reason why he ultimately got them out of Tesla to begin with. Like, Drew Baglino, he was a former engineer for Tesla. And he did so much good at the company. Though I'm worried, in fact, I'm theorizing, Drew stated he left the company for personal reasons. I think Elon was just trying to get him out so that way the company didn't get any ideas about them replacing Elon with Drew. And it's primarily because this was around the time when Elon was heavily pushing, let's do robots. Let's do autonomy. That type of stuff. And It's just a theory. I don't have any concrete evidence to back up my theory, but that's at least how I feel about the situation. But I've been saying for a while now, for the past couple of years, I think it's time Elon steps down, because I mean, now we've physically witnessed it. He's ending production of the Model S and the X, which are the vehicles that are supposed to showcase Tesla's full capability. And he's, due to his shenanigans, he's just sandbagged the company to not allow them to make an excellent Model S and Model X.
Shall we move on to our next topic now, though?
I actually kind of want to add one more theory, because this has also been going on the internet. The way Tesla has reported their sales for the past couple of years, they've roped the Cybertruck into S and X sales. And again, they've only made up collectively a total of like 3% of the company's revenue. If the S and the X are gone, do you think they're going to axe the Cybertruck too?
Well, again, this depends on whether this. First of all, this depends on whether Elon will reverse the decision in a few weeks, because even he himself stated that there's great vehicles and that you should get them while they're last. So again, we have to wait. We have to really just wait and see what happens.
I personally think that, I mean, unless they do reverse their decision, but if the Model S and the X are officially gone, I don't see the Cybertruck staying. I don't.
Same, because I hardly ever see Elon talk about the Cybertruck anymore, but that's beside the point. But shall we move on to our next topic? Because we've been rambling about this for way too long.
Yeah.
So these...
I'm going to have to refilm that whole video again.
How come you're going to have to refilm it again?
Nonetheless, we're into our rumors. Oh, what do I have to film? Oh, it'll basically be the 10th time I've tried to film a video about the S and the X getting canceled.
10 times?
Yes, 10th time. 10th time.
Alpha, what have you been doing?
And it's because every single time I've recorded, I've gone into overdrive. That's how mad I was when I found the news. I went into overdrive.
Just record you going to overdrive then.
My mind was so screwed up and inconsistent. I couldn't bear thinking, how the heck am I supposed to edit this video? Because it was too incohesive. My thoughts were all over the place.
This is why you write scripts.
I looked like I had a bunch of brain cells removed. Yes. I should probably do that this time, but no, I'm not even joking. It'll be like the 10th time I have to remake that video, because I am all over the place. Though, honestly, I do think it's worth going into overdrive.
Yeah. All right, well, moving on, finally. So, our first rumor is about all of Apple's 27 systems. So, the calendar and Photos app, specifically the Collections tab in the Photos app, are going to get overhauls. They're going to heavily focus on... Okay, hang on, I have to get these reactions removed. They're going to... No, reactions are off, okay. They're going to heavily focus on stability. And then Siri is going to have a new face that's like the Finder icon, because that's what Siri needs, a new face. That's always been Siri's problem. Nah, I'm not. I'm being sarcastic, obvious.
Seriously?
I was being sarcastic, obviously. Yeah. Seriously? Are we being serious? Maybe that'll have to be an episode title.
I don't know. Yeah, nothing particular. The only thing that interests me is that you have listed in there is the stability aspect. Because that's something... It's just something we've been needing for far too long.
Oh, by the way, my MacBook is starting to heat up a little bit, so... But yeah, that's
so we already have OS 28 rumors too. Isn't it a bit early?
so. So watch. So the rumor for WatchOS 28 is that it's rumored to get new sleep metrics. I don't even wear my watch when I sleep, so that's useless for me.
So what metrics is it going to give you? You've been awake for 7 hours out of your 8-hour sleep session. Thank you. That's useful.
That's not gonna help you go to sleep. In fact, it's gonna make your sleep even worse. Because I hate to admit it, but
It'll just make you more depressed.
I hate to admit it, but whenever you think about going to sleep, whenever you think about going to sleep when you're trying to go to sleep, then it takes longer to fall asleep. You can never think about going to sleep if you want to actually get to sleep.
It's like that heart rate feature that they have. They'll give you or what is it? They've come up with something where it says like, you're depressed. Thank you. I didn't realize I was depressed. Now I'm even more depressed.
Yeah, that's...
I don't know. I heard rumors some time ago where they're going to come out with something to track your mood and all that. Just, yeah, it was supposed to be like, you seem depressed. Maybe you should go seek some therapy or something. It's like, wow. Thanks for pointing out how bad my life is. I
That's only making the problem worse.
know.
But shall we move on to our next topic?
A health app
Yeah,
on the
Mac
Mac.
OS 28 is rumored to bring that.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, same. I would literally never use that, so it's not like that matters. But our next topic, this is creating so many problems. Apple is developing a wearable AI pen. They're rumored to be developing that. So, in other words, they are rumored to be developing another humane AI pen. Because the humane AI pen worked so well last time.
I thought we had learned last time around that the problem with the humane AI pin was it legitimately had no purpose to exist. It solved a grand total of no problems. You know, I thought towards the end of 2025, Apple was the first company to figure out, this artificial intelligence stuff, it's not really all that useful. It's not that valuable. If anything, it made us look worse.
But then Apple's going right back on it with the announcement of integrating Gemini into Siri.
So clearly they haven't learned. They have not learned their lesson, and they're going to continue to, I don't know, just not succeed.
Exactly, but my theory is that Apple's doing this to spite Johnny Ive, because apparently they're still working. Johnny Ive and OpenAI are still working on that AI hardware. If OpenAI keeps afloat,
so they're willing to lose billions of dollars just to spite Johnny Ive.
Steve Jobs is probably turning over in his grave right now.
Holding a grudge like that is one of the worst things you can do as a company.
Like, I don't know.
I mean, I can get playing a joke, a one-off joke, but...
Usually jokes don't cost billions of dollars.
Yeah, this will legitimately cost them billions of dollars, and that's not going to help their actual product development.
Yeah, now granted that's just a theory, so I don't know for sure if Apple's doing, and they might not even be developing an AI pen for all we know. But if they are, then my theory is that they're doing this just to spite Johnny Ive. Maybe.
Because I think it's safe to say the general public has determined that these AI hardware devices have no purpose.
Yeah, AI is.
So,
I think the general public's agreed that AI is software, not hardware, even though AI is generally used as software too. Although the general public has not reached that consensus yet.
I just thought of something totally stupid for the... You have a theory about... because we're basically at the end of our topics. So I just thought of something hilarious for the... You have a theory of Tesla's going to walk back the decision to end the Model S and X. I personally don't see it due to Elon, but I have a theory on a bet I could do if they actually do walk it back.
Please!
I will film a video for my channel discussing the news of Elon walking back his decision. I will do it in my underpants.
How about no to that? How about no?
That doesn't necessarily mean the camera has to be pointed down there. It just has to be pointed up.
Yeah, I'll pass. That's not... We gotta make this bet more interesting.
Oh, you think it's not good
Nope.
enough?
We gotta make it a lot more interesting.
Oh gosh, what do you propose?
Oh, maybe we could do what the Genius Bar podcast did.
So who's John and who's Sam?
Or we could do even better. We could do a naked podcast.
Oh, good. You marked this episode explicit,
Yeah.
right?
I'm obviously joking, but I'm obviously joking about... I don't want to necessarily remove cloves, but we could do... What else could we do that's interesting for this bet? Our bet on whether Tesla will reverse discontinuation on S/X. What could we do? What could we do? This should probably be something on this podcast. And actually, it needs to be something that Alpha's doing because Alpha's doing because he would be the loser of the bet.
Yes.
So, maybe we could do an episode where Alpha can't wear his glasses the entire time.
I mean, all you'd have to do is just read the topics because I won't be able to read a single thing. But
actually, that's true. That wouldn't be... Also, people who aren't familiar with the show wouldn't understand. They wouldn't get it, so... We need to do something that even people who don't understand the show would get. What else could we do?
we're not betting any testicles. I'll make that
Yeah. Where's John Prosser's testicle that he bet if the iPhone went?
I don't
Where
know.
did that go?
I don't know.
I know it sounds creepy, but what else could we bet? How about this? If Alpha loses this bet, he can't put any carpet in his house. No carpet.
I'll need it for sound deadening, though.
Nope, no carpet if you lose this bet.
I'm not agreeing to that one.
That's a reasonable thing.
I'm not agreeing to that one.
It's more reasonable than you doing it in your underpants.
Honestly, I'd rather just do the entire show in my underpants than not carpet my house.
I don't want any shows where we're in our underpants. That's not what TIFP is about.
Well, I could do what John did. Shirt, no pants.
But what if you have to get up?
Just not stand up like he did.
Oh,
huh?
All right. Who? Didn't he accidentally stand up though?
No.
What happened though to reveal?
No, his attempt to blur the camera failed. He tried to put his camera out of focus, but it failed.
He said to
happened.
focus instead.
No, he hit manual focus and tried to make it all blurry, but in his process of running to the room, he swiped his mouse and accidentally set the settings wrong. And it was right on his... That's what happened.
Too bad I wasn't there for that stream. Well,
yeah.
You know, we could do... Actually, I think a show without pants on would be perfect. Or a show without pants on would be pretty... Or heck, maybe a show without clothes on.
I don't know. Just...
Maybe one without pants. Yeah, without pants is a pretty good one.
Does that include underpants? Or no?
I mean...
I'd rather keep them on. If
John
I'm being
Prosser
honest.
didn't wear any underpants when he did the live show.
That's true. I was actually surprised he went that far. I mean, of course, no pants. I get that, but I'm surprised he actually went that far. Why did he go that far? So, I don't know. I'll agree to that.
All right.
Because I hardly ever stand up. So.
All right, we will agree.
I'll agree to that.
All right, now we need to make a time frame for this bet because we need to make a punt because we need to do a counter bet because we need to give me a punishment for if I...
Tesla said Q2. Tesla said Q2.
So
if Q2 ends and the S and the X are still available for purchase on the website.
And they're not available, but if they're not available for purchase at the end of Q2, then I would lose the bet.
Yep.
So what should I do if I lose the bet? Well, maybe I could do a shirtless show because I actually do get up. So.
Yeah. No, you can't get the no pants thing working. So.
All right, that's a deal. If Tesla walks back on the decision, then Alpha has to do a show without pants, maybe without underwear too. And then if Tesla doesn't walk back, then I have to do a shirtless show.
The bet's on.
We have two
gosh.
bets on because of course we have the rumors for if Apple actually releases the IR camera AirPods.
Yeah, that.
Which I need to get my iMac ready for that.
Yeah, you need... I still got to figure out how to install OBS on mine because I'm having issues with that. So...
But yeah, we got a bit...
Nonetheless, oh jeez.
Alright, well I think we got a very good bet going. Anything else you want to talk about in these last 2 minutes?
I don't think so.
Yeah, same here. So, as always, thank you all for tuning into our episode of the iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Macker from the iTunes Fanboy.
My glass of water's empty. And my name is Alpha DeWolf from the Random Alpha.
Yeah, as always, we're saying peace out for now, and we hope to see you all in the next episode, probably two weeks from now, in which Alpha may or may not be wearing pants. As always, we hope you all take care, and until then, we'll see you all, and we should be back, hopefully with Alpha without pants. See you then. Peace out.
I said Q2.